everyone. I'm Lana Zach. Thanks for being with us. President Trump begins his 4th of July weekend with a visit to South Dakota tonight. He'll participate in an Independence Day celebration at Mount Rushmore with a speech and an elaborate fireworks display that will be set off above the monument for the first time in more than a decade. The large-scale event is taking place despite a dramatic spike in new coronavirus cases in parts of the United States as multiple states struggle to contain the spread. For more on this, I'm joined by CBS News White House correspondent Paula Reid. Paula, good to have you with us. The president's event at Mount Rushmore has sparked controversy for a few reasons. Tell us more about why there's been pushback.
Well, interesting your choice of words, sparked. They haven't had fireworks there in over a decade because there are concerns about wildfires, the risk of wildfires in that environment. So the president has long talked about his desire to bring back the fireworks on the 4th of July and to attend, which is what he's doing now. But this is all happening in the middle of a pandemic. And so far, the governor of the state has said there will be no social distancing at this event. Masks will be handed out, but they will be optional. She says that anyone who has concerns can, quote, stay home. But as if that wasn't enough controversy or concern, there are also cultural concerns. Right now, of course, Lana, as you know, we're having a larger conversation in this country about white supremacy, about respecting other cultures, about sort of very painful history in this country. And the leaders of Native American tribes have expressed concern, not just about the coronavirus, but they've also revived their concerns about the memorial itself, about Mount Rushmore and the fact that it's on land, they say, taken from the Lakota people. So there are expected to be protests near this landmark. I mean, it's really quite remarkable, the layers of complexity and controversy to this event.
Lots of layers, Paula. Still, despite that, more than 7,000 people are expected to attend tonight's celebration. And as you said, there's no social distancing requirements. There's no mask requirements. So I'm wondering what the White House is doing to ensure the health and safety of attendees amid the pandemic.
That's right. The White House really isn't doing too much beyond. They're really deferring to the local and state leaders. Tomorrow, the White House will host an event here at the White House. And it's interesting because the mayor of D.C. has specifically told people she does not think they should be engaging in large gatherings over the holiday weekend. But the president and the first lady will host a salute to America tomorrow, which will have fireworks, flyovers, music, and, of course, large crowds. Now, the mayor does not control what happens on federal land, but the federal authorities have said they will be handing out masks, though they're ultimately a personal decision whether people want to wear them. It's not clear if folks will be socially distancing, but the city's mayor says she's communicated to the administration that she does not think that this big event that they are hosting actually complies with the administration's own guidance and best practices on how to prevent the spread of coronavirus.
Yeah, I want to ask you about that, Paula, because 4th of July is one of my favorite holidays. I love all holidays, but 4th of July has a special place in my heart. And when we're talking about all the festivities, it sounds really wonderful. And then we're reminded that there's a global pandemic going on right now and that some states are actually seeing a surge in coronavirus cases. There was also blowback after the Trump campaign rally in Tulsa and people testing positive after that, including Trump campaign staffers. Have you noticed any shift in the Trump administration's current thinking on large-scale events during COVID? It almost seems like this is to directly fly in the face of what we've even heard from the White House's own coronavirus task force.
That's right. While these are not official campaign events, these are large-scale events. They do appear to completely contradict the White House's own medical experts. Going forward, it will be really interesting to see what the administration does in terms of campaign events. You look at the president's event in Tulsa. He had a subsequent event in Arizona, and both of these events resulted in folks testing positive for coronavirus. Dozens of campaign staffers, dozens of Secret Service agents had to go into quarantine after some tested positive. And there's been a question that's been posed to the administration about whether they are actually part of the problem, whether they're contributing to the spread. though so far the administration's approach remains consistent. They are deferring to state leaders to decide what is best for their communities in terms of masks, social distancing, reopening businesses. But as you've seen, there's been this enormous surge across the country, this not even really a second wave, but this new wave that actually surpassed the previous one of these cases. And many experts, some of whom work here at the White House, say part of the reason we're seeing this surge is because there was this patchwork of philosophies about how to deal with this. And while Vice President Mike Pence, President Trump say they want to pursue a federalist approach, defer to the states, what we're seeing in the polls are that voters are not happy with the way this administration has handled things. Though so far it does not appear they're going to switch up this strategy anytime soon and present any sort of presidential mandate or requirement around masks or social distancing. It does appear, I mean, as recently as yesterday, Vice President was in the really must-win state of Florida that's seeing a surge, and he once again said he will defer to local leaders on how to handle this and get this under control.
Yeah, all right. Well, why don't we go ahead and switch gears for a moment? On Thursday, intelligence officials met with top-ranking lawmakers to discuss reports that Russia offered bounties to the Taliban to kill U.S. troops in Afghanistan. I know you've been following this story, Paula. What has come out of that meeting? And what is the White House saying now?
Well, not surprisingly, on Capitol Hill, both sides of the aisle have a different take on what should have happened here, what could have happened here. Immediately following this briefing, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, she told reporters that she said this was not a good time, obviously, to be inviting Russia to be part of what the president has described as his wish to add them to be part of a G8. She also said, I'm going to quote her directly, she said, when in fact there is a reason to suspect that Russia was threatening the security of our men and women in uniform. Now, Senator Lindsey Graham, one of the president's closest allies, he also came out and he, though, defended the administration's handling of this. He said, I cannot believe they would brief the president of the United States about this allegation, given the nature of the intelligence. So he is also pursuing the White House's talking points that this intelligence was not verified, and that's why the president was not orally briefed on this, even if it was included in some of his material. So it really doesn't seem like the story has moved that much further following this briefing. Both sides really kind of entrenched in their spin and their interpretation of what happened there. And so far, really no indication from the White House or from the president that they have any sort of plans in terms of how to respond if this does indeed turn out to be true.
Yeah, really serious allegations, Paula. It'd be interesting to see, because a lot of people have been discussing whether or not the president should have been orally briefed on this, but just at the fundamental heart of the matter, what the administration intends to do if these allegations do, in fact, turn out to be true. All right, Paula Reid at the White House, have a happy 4th of July.